There's something special about movies that are made as homages to classic films or classic film styles. A recent example of this comes with the 2022 release of Werewolf by Night, which uses a classic black, white, and red color scheme, as well as tropes, monsters, and purposely stylized effects which come together in a fun and unique monster movie. With a runtime of under an hour, I easily recommend this movie when you have a chance. But yeah, without further ado, my name is Creed, and let's talk about what happens in Werewolf by Night. The movie opens with narration telling us about the Bloodstone family. We learn that the Bloodstones used a weapon that's called the Bloodstone to hunt and defeat monsters of the night. However, the most recent wielder, Ulysses Bloodstone, has passed away, and as tradition dictates, the next chosen wielder of the Bloodstone must earn it in an
ultimate hunt between hunters.
Our main character Jack walks into a large room filled with other hunters, and shortly after, Elsa Bloodstone also arrives, and we learn that she has stepped away from the Bloodstone family like years and years ago, but now she wishes to earn her right to wield the Bloodstone, as was originally her birthright. The corpse of Ulysses is puppeteered and instructs the hunters on the night's rules. An incredibly powerful monster has been released in the Bloodstone Garden, and the Bloodstone itself will be embedded in the monster's flesh. Whichever hunter kills the beast and retrieves the Bloodstone will become the new wielder. No weapons will be allowed into the garden, but weapons will be placed randomly around inside of the garden for the hunters to find and use. He also mentions that attacking fellow hunters is not against the rules, and then the hunters all draw lots to see which order they will go into the gardens, the entire time hearing the beast roar just beyond. Jack and Elsa cross paths, but Jack raises his hands and he says he doesn't want to fight. Elsa grabs Jack's arm and pulls him out of the way as an axe strikes where his head was just a moment ago. We now see that Joven has found these two, and Elsa and Joven battle briefly while Jack makes his escape. We then see that Elsa is able to get the upper hand on Joven, and she actually gets away, stealing his axe in the process. While Elsa is sneaking towards a new route, she comes upon a huge steaming footprint, and this is our first indication of what the monster could possibly be. She sneaks up to a door of a mausoleum, but is suddenly attacked by another hunter named Leorn. Now Leorn has found a crossbow and is trying to shoot Elsa, but she just won't let it go. She's able to cut off Liam's arm, disarming and unarming him, and then while he's charging at her, Elsa dives to the ground and retrieves the dismembered crossbow. She releases a bolt into his neck, killing Leorn, killing that other hunter, and then she hears someone else coming, but she's able to slip into a flower bed to kind of hide, and then we see Joven walk right around the corner, and we think that he's going to find Elsa for a few moments, but then he just sees the glint of his axe inside of the flower bed, so he picks that up, and now he's all happy because he's reunited with his weapon. We cut back over to Jack, who is now sneaking around a corner, but he's suddenly grabbed by the monster. However, Jack doesn't give us the reaction that we're expecting. Instead, he laughs. He looks quite relieved to have found the monster, and we learn that he and the monster actually know each other, and Jack's secret mission this whole time has actually been to come into the gardens and rescue the monster, not to kill him. But while he and the monster are conversing, another hunter sneaks up and attacks them. Jack is still hesitant to fight, and he chooses to run instead. He's chased into the mausoleum that we saw from before, but when he sees Elsa inside, she tries to warn him before the door closes, locking both of them inside. Jack and Elsa talk for a while, each reminiscing about family, and we learn that Jack and the monster, whose name is Ted, have been by each other's side for years and years now, and they always get each other out of different situations. While Elsa is sharing a story about her aunt, she looks up at one of the coffins and remembers something. She climbs up, and we learn that her aunt Frances was paranoid that she would come back to life someday and wanted a way to get out of the mausoleum in case no one was around to let her out. So, she buried herself with a set of keys and a grapple hook, which Elsa straps to her belt, and then Elsa and Jack are free to leave the mausoleum. Jack tells Elsa that he isn't interested in the Bloodstone in any way, and they decide to team up. Elsa promises to help Jack get Ted out of the garden alive, and Jack promises to help Elsa get the Bloodstone. Jack tells Elsa to go and find the monster, saying that all she needs to do is call him by name and he won't attack her, and then Jack accidentally activates the timer on a bomb that he'd found. He panics and runs towards the outer wall of the garden to hopefully blow a hole in the wall and let Ted out. Elsa runs directly into Joven again, but just before they start to fight, the monster grabs Joven's head and burns his life away. The monster is ready to attack Elsa when she just says,
Ted, you have a lovely name.
Jack's bomb goes off, blowing a large hole in the wall just as Elsa and Ted meet up with him. Elsa uses her grappling hook to dislodge the bloodstone from Ted's back, and Ted takes this opportunity to run away to freedom into the forest. Then, Jack reaches down to pick up the bloodstone, but he's blown back by a blast of energy. Verussa, which is Ulysses' widow, she reveals that the bloodstone has rejected Jack, and the only reason it would do that is because Jack himself is a creature of the night. Jack passes out and is captured, and later wakes up locked inside of a cage with Elsa. Jack reveals to Elsa that he is a certain type of monster that only transforms under the light of a full moon. Verussa then gloats that she will be able to use the bloodstone to force his transformation at any point that she wants, and use his monster to kill Elsa. Jack begins to panic. He runs to Elsa and tries to memorize her scent, telling her that the best way, the only way that he knows to survive his monster, is to never break eye contact with him, and then hope that he doesn't attack and remembers them. He says it's the best way, but he also tells us that this plan has only ever worked once before. Verussa then pulls out the bloodstone and uses its power on Jack. We see Jack's silhouette as he painfully transforms. Verussa laughs, and Jack's arm shoots out and grabs her. The guards use their little zappy sticks to force Jack to let go, but they cause a cloud of smoke to engulf the cage and hide the monster within. When the smoke dissipates, we see a large hole in the top of the cage, and the monster is nowhere to be seen. As we pan around the room, we can see the monster is perched on top of a trophy. He pounces and begins to tear the guards down one by one. One of the hunters tries to fight with the werewolf, but is ultimately beaten and his ear is bitten off in the process. Elsa then uses this time of chaos to climb up and escape through the cage, but then that same hunter attacks her before she can get too far. After a quick duel, Elsa beats the other hunter, finishing him off with a slice to the neck. Then comes probably the best scene in the entire movie. It's an incredibly cool hallway fight. The choreography, the suspense, the brutality of the werewolf, and then especially the way a little bit of blood splatters onto the camera is just chef's kiss. It's great. I think it all comes together incredibly well in this fight. I'm going to show as much as I can, but this scene is definitely worth looking up in its entirety if you want a really, really fun hallway fight. Elsa tries to fight her way towards Jack, but is stopped by the hunter that we saw chasing Jack before. Verussa steps from the shadows and uses the bloodstone on Jack, finally seeming to subdue him. And then Elsa is able to get the upper hand on the hunter. She's able to kill her with this really cool, fun sword stick into the forehead, and then she uses her grapple hook to pull Verussa off balance and away from Jack. She actually pulls her away hard enough that it actually knocks Verussa out somehow. She's just unconscious now, it's weird. Elsa can hear Jack down the hallway, but it's too dark for her to see him. She sneaks closer, asking if he's there, and then the werewolf leaps onto her and pins her to the ground. But Elsa remembered what Jack said, and she looks directly into the monster's eye, never looking away and willing him to remember who she is. Well, it seems to work, because after a moment of hesitation, she reaches up, touching Jack's face, and then the werewolf blinks and slowly backs away before it runs out into the forest and into freedom. Verussa wakes back up, but she's furious that Elsa would take the side of a creature of the night, especially over her own kind. She raises a gun and is ready to fire at Elsa when Ted drops from the ceiling and disintegrates her into nothing. Elsa and Ted share a quick exchange where she tells him which way Jack went before Ted follows his tracks. And then Elsa sits down, admiring the bloodstone that has been her birthright, and this is where we see color actually begins to bleed back into the world via the bloodstone itself. We cut briefly to see Ted and Jack are reunited, and they decide to celebrate being together with a sushi dinner. And that's where the movie ends. That's where they end it. It's pretty good. It was a all-around fun movie, I'd say. Like I said, it's got a lot of homages to kind of some classic horror via the monsters, via the effects. It kind of just You can tell that whoever wrote it, whoever directed it, and probably everyone who acted in it are big fans of the horror genre, especially like of the old Wolfman movie. Like there's a lot of Wolfman in this, obviously. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I really did. And if you did like it, don't forget to leave a like as well as subscribe. It really helps the channel out. It really helps me out a lot as well. And to everyone who's made it this far, I hope you find $20 in your jeans pocket that you forgot about as a little gift to yourself and a little gift from me. But until next time, my name is Creed, and this has been Ryder's BlockBuster. Bye-bye!
Why are you running?